I thought I would never have to make this video. I hoped I would never have to make this video. But it happened. So here I am.
Hello everyone and welcome back to DMG. Today we're going to be talking about the SandForce controller failures in OCZ SSDs. Now I know this is a very old topic and OCZ hasn't even made SSDs in almost half a decade at the time of filming. But it happened to my drive out of the blue and I wanted to address why. So first of all, this is an OCZ Vertex 2. It's a 60 gig drive from around 2012. Now there were, a couple big players in the early SSD game, like Toshiba Memory. OCZ was one of these. They made like really good SSDs when SSDs started becoming more of a consumer thing and not just only used by big businesses or servers. Now, OCZ stopped making SSDs because almost all of them had the same issue that happened to my drive, a controller failure. Now, to understand why this happens, we have to understand the fundamental parts of how an SSD works. So to understand why it failed, you need a basic understanding of the components of an SSD and how an SSD works. I've already taken out the screws in this drive, so that's why it just pops apart. That's my dog being loud, excuse him. An interesting thing to note is that it's built exactly opposite from how most modern SSDs is. This is the bottom, this is the top. The actual drive part screws to the top, the bottom snaps on over it and then screws in, and then you've got your drive. It doesn't affect the functioning in any way, it's just interesting. But anyway, there are two main parts of an SSD: the controller and the NAND flash. These big chips with all the pins on the side are the NAND flash. These are just power delivery. And this right here is the controller. Now, if you look closely at the controller, you can see that it says SandForce. Now, that right there is our problem. Let me explain more. SandForce made all of the controllers for these early OCZ drives, like the Vertex 2 that we have here. They were known to be prone to failure, and that's exactly what happened to my drive. Basically what a controller does, it's like, the controller is like a librarian. The computer can, go in, ask for a book. The controller will find which of these flash chips it is in, and, bring it out to the computer so that the computer can use it. Without the controller, of course, the computer can't access any of the data. So without the controller, the drive is overall worthless. OCZ eventually stopped making SSDs because their drives were just so unreliable because of that controller failure. And I thought this was one of the models that it wouldn't happen to. This was the drive I had been recording with OBS to. This is the drive that I was editing off of for several months, and I had had the drive for about a year before I bought it used. Just to have an extra small drive. It was reporting 98% life remaining in hardware info 64. 98%. And it just died on me one day. Now, I will say, there were signs of it dying, but only on that day that it actually failed. No signs whatsoever before that day. I noticed about 3 hours before the drive died, I tried to open a WAV file with Windows Media Player. It said, like, error, server execution failed. Opened it again and it worked fine. Then, about an hour later, I was trying to add some video files to my video editor. And it imported the wrong file. It wasn't user error. I dragged a video in, and it imported the wrong one. So look at this. This video called Video 0 should look like that. I put it in my video editor, and it's that. It's a completely different. It's the wrong file. I don't know why it does that. And it's like really weird and slowed down too. I don't know why. So that made me think it's a dead drive. So a frantic post on LTT forums later, before I even got 3 responses on the topic, my computer hard crashed. No blue screen, just straight to black screen, no VGA output. And I had to hard shut down. I had to unplug it. So that made me think, okay, yeah, drive died. And in fact it did. I plugged it in to a caddy. Well, first of all, I tried it in the computer, wouldn't post with the drive in, wouldn't recognize it in the BIOS, just wouldn't work at all. So then I thought, maybe it's just an issue with the SATA port. I could put it in a caddy. No, still didn't work. It recognized the caddy was there, but no media, it said. So, unfortunately, this drive died of a controller failure, as I said. Luckily, there wasn't any very important data on it. There was a meme that I, easily recreated, because no content is original anymore. And there was also a script for an upcoming video. It took me a good half hour to write. I was a bit disappointed about that, because it crashed while I was backing up the data, and the script was the last thing to be backed up. The meme got backed up, but it was partially corrupted. Also, really quickly, I just want to address, this is a 60 gig drive. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 NAND flash chips on it. You can buy a 256 gig, even 512 gig SSD these days that only has 1 or 2 chips on it. It's just fascinating that it requires that many. But yeah, anyway, past the fact that it's kind of sad that this one failed, it could have been expected. Now, OCZ definitely didn't expect all of their drives to fail, because nearly all of the drives they made used a controller by this same company, SandForce, and, well, yeah, within weeks, days sometimes even, after buying a drive, it would just, it had a potential to completely, catastrophically fail. That's pretty much it for today's video. I wanted to do just a quick coverage of controller failures, what that can mean, and also just kind of how an SSD works in general. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next video.